production of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southeast.
From the city so nice they named it twice. New York, New York. It's game 2 of a 3-game series between the Braves and the Mets, and Atlanta has had a nice time this year here at Citi Field, winning 7 of 8 games so far. And with their victory last night, it was a very productive night for Atlanta, which gained a game on both the Dodgers and the Cubs in the race for the National League's best record. Hi again, friends, along with Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Welcome to the ballpark. A great comeback win for Atlanta against the beleaguered New York Mets bullpen. But, Joe, it was a win that came at a very heavy cost. For Dansby Swanson, we understand, was injured swinging the bat in the second inning, and when he comes back has yet to be determined.
Yeah, it's going to be something the Braves are going to have to fill the gaps on here, because Dansby was diagnosed with a partially torn ligament in his hand, and we could see the pain on his face as he was swinging at a pitch from Noah Syndergaard, and he was really hurting. He had to come out of the game right after this. He actually hit a line drive to center for an out, but it was just too much to overcome. He was flown back to Atlanta. He was looked at by team doctor, Dr. Gary Laurie, and it was determined through an MRI that he had the partially torn ligament.
So Atlanta feels very disappointed that they've lost Dansby, who had 11 defensive runs saved at shortstop, 6 most among all National League shortstops. But they do, Joe, have a very capable replacement in Charlie Culberson, or perhaps even Johan Camargo.
Yeah, I told Charlie today, I said, we're so lucky to have you, and I know that he's going to be able to step up and do what he does, because he's done this before. He did it last year for the Dodgers in the NLCS when Kyle Seager got hurt. So he knows how to handle himself. He's been here all year. He'll be a very capable replacement until Dansby's ready.
And hopefully Charlie will come into tonight's game and swing a hot bat, for that will be a very big key in game 2. A very intriguing pitching matchup. Sean Newcomb is going for Atlanta. Cy Young candidate Jacob deGrom pitches for the Mets. We'll break down tonight's starting pitching matchup for Game 2 at Citi Field next.
Sports Southeast is presented by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Xfinity. Xfinity delivers the fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. And by Delta Airlines.
We're back at Citi Field in Flushing, New York. Hard to believe, counting tonight's game, just 5 regular season matchups left for the Atlanta Braves. And partner, one of the things Atlanta's trying to accomplish in these final 2 series is getting their starting pitching rotation in order for postseason play. Last night, Touki Toussaint kept the Braves in the game, and despite a lot of walks, made some big pitches when he had to. Hopefully, Sean Newcomb has that in his back pocket as he faces off with Jacob deGrom tonight.
Yeah, in some cases, they're trying to figure out who's going to be in the rotation. And for Sean Newcomb, this is a very important outing because it's his last opportunity to start. Sean Newcomb has great stuff, as we know. He's showing you a good curveball and an outing against the Mets earlier this year where he was outstanding. He's hoping for more of that tonight. But his first half, well, it's a tale of 2 seasons. Great first half, 8-2, 271. And probably should have been on the All-Star team were it not for a fade right before the All-Star game. His last 13 starts, a 5.92 ERA, a 6 ERA since August 1st. It has not been good. He's scattered in some pretty good outings in between, but tonight he needs a good one, and he's going to have a good one against Jacob deGrom, who has nothing to prove tonight except that he's the Cy Young winner for 2018. He has been amazing. The weird thing, though, against the Braves, he's made 5 starts against Atlanta this year. He's winless. The team is winless, and that's despite an ERA that's under 1. 31 starts on the year, 177 ERA. Hasn't allowed a hit with the bases loaded this year. That's just crazy. And take a look at this, Chip. When he pitches, the bullpen's ERA 6.85. For all the other starters, it's 4.75. Therein lies the story about why Jacob deGrom's record is an even 500.
Truly an historic season for Jacob deGrom, and the Braves hope to put a ding in his Cy Young hopes here in the middle game in New York City. Perfect night for baseball. All trains lead to Citi Field. It's the Braves and Mets Game 2 lineups and first pitch coming right up. On our Checkers weather report, expecting to have gorgeous clear skies here tomorrow for the series wrap up. Atlanta would love a chance to sweep the New York Mets, but Brian Snitker's club will have to beat Jacob deGrom or this Mets bullpen in Game 2 to accomplish that. Atlanta is looking for its 90th win this season, and as we talked about in our opening comments a moment ago, Charlie Culberson in for an injured Dansby Swanson, batting 8th on the Toyota lineup. And it doesn't get any tougher than Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets, 9-9 with a MLB league leading 1.77 ERA this year.
I fudged on his ERA against the Braves. It's actually 1.09, but still winless in 5 starts.
And the first of the night for deGrom is well off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. This is his final start for New York this year. He would desperately love to get into double digits in wins. And a foul ball by Acuna, who sat down. He swung so hard, hope he didn't hurt himself.
97-mile-an-hour heater. That's about where he sits most of the night. 94 to 97, depending on 2-seamer or mostly 4-seamers. Great slider, changeup, curve.
Line into center field. A leadoff hit for Acuna. Laser beam at 97 miles an hour. And Acuna hit it harder than that, and he's aboard to start the game. There's a great start.
I'll say. That just tells your teammates, hey, let's go, swing the bat. Fastball had the middle of the plate. deGrom's last start was against Washington, the same last opponent that Sean Newcomb had. deGrom had better results. He got a win, 7 innings, 1 run. He's pitched 7 innings or better each of his last 3 times out.
Let's see if Acuna thinks about running early in the game with Ender up there. Brave center fielder batting second and takes a strike. Evan Mesoraco framed that one nicely. It's 0-1. When you talk about the Braves' second half surge, Ender Inciarte has to be in that conversation with Ronald Acuna Jr. He's had a brilliant run since the All-Star break. As time called. And much of Ender's good work has come against left-handed pitching, which I think has helped him against the righties too.
No argument for me on that. Staying in there, not pulling off the ball. Great second half.
Runner goes. Great jump. The throw by Mesoraco. Short hops, and Acuna beats the wrap and held on.
That is almost an exact replica of Mesoraco's throw to second base before the first batter came up. When he threw down to second, it was a real bad short hop. I don't know how Ronald was able to hold on to the base there. That was almost like Mesoraco was trying to throw a one-hopper. It was so short.
I wonder if Rosario's foot helped break the overslide of Acuna there. Might have helped him hold the bag. So he's in scoring position. Nobody out. 1-1 pitch. And Ender chased a throat-high fastball. Didn't get that. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here you go. Here's what we've been talking about a lot. Best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion, this year. Postseason like game. You get a leadoff single, a stolen base. Try to do your best to manufacture that first run and get on the board.
Braves had all kinds of trouble with Noah Syndergaard over the first 6 innings last night. Syndergaard had him shut out through those 6 frames on 3 hits. Then the Mets bullpen came in and Atlanta took advantage. A ball and 2 strikes. Rosario playing patty cake behind Acuna. The pitch. And in the dirt. Nice stop. What wind there is appears to be blowing straight in from right field. So if you're going to hit it out, you may have to hit it under radar here tonight in New York. We had a ton of rain yesterday. I was shocked that the game continued in the 2nd and 3rd innings. As much heavy rain as fell, but eventually it cleared and we had no interruptions once first pitch was thrown. Back to the mound. deGrom will hold the runner at second, and Ender can't advance him. A comebacker is the first out here in the first inning.
Trying to get him over, but couldn't get it to the right of the mound.
So here is Freddie Freeman. We have seen deGrom and Freeman have a very friendly, professional rivalry on the field in games past. There is a great deal of mutual respect between these two men. And Freddie's had some good luck against DeGrom. 12 hits lifetime, including 2 homers. And a swing and a miss, a sinker. No balls and a strike.
Freddie jumped on the first pitch last night from Syndergaard, and that was a nice combo.
I kind of like that, actually.
Syndergaard got a 2-out double.
Freeman has 25 hits this year against the Mets and leads the National League in hits with 187. So again, a great matchup. Baseball's ERA leader against the man with more hits than anyone else in the senior circuit tonight. And Freddie lifts this one to the left side. Conforto is underneath, and he's got that. And no advance by Acuna after a ground out and fly out. The fate of the inning rests in the hands of Nick Markakis with 2 outs. Nick reached base 3 times last night, a first inning walk, a 4th inning and 9th inning single. So he's up to 184 hits and now 56 multi-hit games.
93 driven in. Chance to add to that mark.
He's knocked in 12 against Mets pitching this year. Pickoff play at second and the throw off target. So Acuna at second after a single and stolen base, a ground out and pop out later. DeGrom is an out away from ending the threat. Strike 1.
Jacob DeGrom doesn't have an ERA of 177 without pitching in some tough spots. Check out his averages against with runners in scoring position, 2-out risk, and with the bases loaded, 0 for 13, 9 strikeouts.
The last time DeGrom faced a batter with the bases loaded was July 23rd.
Wow. 30 years old, 6'4", slender 180. Out of DeLand, Florida, and Stetson University.
So he's ahead of Markakis. 2 quick strikes as Acuna leads the pitch. Straighten him up with a fastball. It's 1-2.
DeGrom kind of started that long hair fashion. You know, long locks. And then when everybody else started doing it, then he cut his off. I like that.
I was kind of hoping it would turn him into Samson, but it hasn't worked out, has it? What a competitor. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And 2-2. This is where the Braves are at their best. They score a lot of runs with 2 outs. Nick Markakis is maybe the most unconventional cleanup hitter in today's game in that he doesn't strike out a lot. More often than not, he puts the ball in play. At one point, Nick was the toughest man to strike out in the National League. In fact, he is the toughest guy to strike out, just a shade ahead of Jose Peraza of the Reds. For a number 4 hitter, that is a huge bonus. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He was off the plate. Terrific take, full count.
Some late movement, moved off the outside corner.
CB Buckner has the plate, and Fox Track shows it was outside. Full count. Bouncing ball hit toward McNeil at second. He'll charge and flip to first in time, and DeGrom works around a leadoff hit by Acuna. Here comes Sean Newcomb. No score after half inning in Gotham. To shine here in New York. Sean's looking for his 13th win this season.
25 years old, 6'5", 255 out of Brockton, Mass. His last 4 road starts have been excellent. A 173 opponent average against him. And overall for the year, he's 8-3 on the road. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, strike 1. Get ahead in the count. Pitch ahead in the count. And be aggressive. Get after these guys. This is your last opportunity to show the staff that you are one of the guys that needs to be in the postseason rotation.
Ahmed Rosario, the first batter, and there's a good sign. A first pitch strike, inner half at 94. 0-1. Those last 4 games for Newcomb on the road, 2 in Miami, 1 in Washington, and 1 at San Francisco. One very similar aspect of those stadiums, they're good pitchers' parks. This is also a good pitchers' park. Hopefully that'll help Sean settle in early and often. Back to the mound. Newcomb a bobble after he caught it, but recovers for the first out. So 3 pitches disposes of Rosario, the Mets shortstop. And Mickey Callaway's lineup looks this way tonight. A lot of left-handed bats in there against Sean Newcomb. DeGrom, the pitcher, will hit 8th. Brandon Nimmo, a high on-base percentage man in September, will hit 9th on their Toyota lineup card tonight. Here's one of the lefties, Jeff McNeil. This young man's had a terrific start in his first 58 games, hitting .337. And was 1 for 5 last night. Joe, all he does is get on base and line singles all over the park.
Yeah, he's not just a pinger. I mean, he's hit 3 homers here. He hit a bunch down in the minor leagues this year. But he can put it in play and find holes, as we have seen already with his high average.
The old saying, don't believe what you see in March and September in the major leagues. Well, that might be dispelled by this man. McNeil is having a terrific run overall for New York, and there are many who think he's the odds-on man to have the starting job at second base if he has a good spring next year for the Mets. This one's lifted to the left side. Camargo gives chase. Acuna as well, but that one is into the seats and out of play. 2-2.
Stay aggressive, keep pounding that strike zone. Sean's got the stuff.
And he just showed it. 96, heated him up.
He can match up with DeGrom. I'm not saying that he's Jacob DeGrom yet, but he has the stuff to pitch a game similar to DeGrom with 8, 9, 10 strikeouts. Just a heater up right by him.
So 2 quick outs brings up Austin Jackson, the Mets center fielder. He's batting .248. And another first pitch strike. Sean's 2 out of 3 in that category to start his night. Jackson batted 7th last night, struck out twice, singled once. And also made a error defensively in center.
Every good game that Sean has pitched, in my recollection, sometimes isn't the best, but is because he's thrown a lot of fastballs and he's thrown them for strikes. He's worked both sides of the plate. That game against the Dodgers, the near no-hitter, 125 or 30 pitches and 100 fastballs.
Correct.
Roughly. It's when he starts maybe not having the confidence to stay with his fastball and he starts trying to go to his secondary stuff too early that if the pitch count goes up, he gets behind in counts and he gets hurt.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Jackson. Base is empty. And that was a perfect pitcher's pitch and he didn't get it.
Got to get rewarded for that. There he is.
Flowers held it there, didn't get the call, but justice is served. He strikes out Jackson anyway. Cost him one more pitch. He got a perfect first, and Johan Camargo leads off a scoreless second. Baseball and Division Series tickets are on sale, but they won't last long. If you want to be at SunTrust Park next week, you'd better head to Braves.com/postseason and get your seats today. Jacob deGrom back to work in the second inning. No score. Braves and Mets. Camargo, Flowers, and Ozzie Albies are coming up. Camargo's riding a 4-game hitting streak. He doubled and scored twice last night.
And he's had some good luck against deGrom. 5 for 14, homer. Again, right on top of the plate, inviting him to pitch him in.
And cued foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes. We've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks, Joe, about the importance of the Braves seeing #1 type starting pitchers as they get set for postseason play. It's clear that deGrom is that kind of guy, and the type of game he usually pitches is, I think, illustrative of what Atlanta's going to face in October.
Absolutely, he is. And that's why I love the way Ronald Acuna came out tonight. Big, aggressive swing, and then on the base hit the ball hard. Didn't just dunk one in somewhere.
There's a base hit by Camargo to right field. So
I think all too often, Chip, you can give too much credit to those guys and be a little defensive in your swings, trying to just put the ball in play. And that's the opposite of what ought to take place. You got to get after these guys because they are good.
And you have to get after them with the opportunities that are presented you, because in a case like deGrom, it's a miracle if he gives up more than 3 runs.
Yes, it is. It's crazy what he's done in that category.
We'll show you that eye-popping stat in a second as Tyler Flowers digs in. My partner has said so many times, Flowers hits homers off guys that no one else hits them off of. Maybe deGrom will be his mark tonight. He does have a career homer against him and has 8 overall this season.
6 for his last 22 with 2 homers. He and Kirk, the last 6 weeks have really been a good 1-2 punch offensively.
One ball, 1 strike.
Teasing Kirk today. I said, I'm really glad that you were able to make that tag out at home plate for the 3rd out in the inning last night. He goes, I'm just glad I was watching it.
Me too.
I said, yeah, me too.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
He said it would have been easy, basically, to assume he's going to throw to first and just start walking to the dugout. Glad he didn't.
That ball explode up and in. One ball, two strikes. And a swing and a miss. First strikeout for DeGrom. That's number 260, by the way, this season.
97 with some action on it. Here's what we're talking about. His last 23 starts, all quality starts, meaning 6 innings or more, 3 runs or less. It's an MLB single season record. And he's gone 6-9 with a 175. That's nuts.
They just don't score for him. Hope that continues tonight. As Albies takes high, ball 1. Ozzie hit a homer here last night in the 8th inning. His 24th and 72 RBIs now. Great year for the Braves second baseman. Now he's up to 68 extra base hits. And this one's bounced toward McNeil at second. There's 1. There's 2. And DeGrom pitches around another leadoff single. A strikeout and double play ends that Atlanta threat. Sean Newcomb's getting ready for his second inning of work against the Mets. The Braves starters, Joe, have enjoyed facing New York. That's our landmark always best, always feature.
You bet. 17 games. Take a look. 2.42 ERA, sub 200 average. 89 strikeouts in 100 innings. Great work. The team is 13-4 against the Mets. They're 7-1 against them here at Citi Field.
Well, Sean Newcomb followed your Ford keys to a T in the first inning. He was aggressive. He threw strike 1. He also threw strike 2 and 3. 14 pitches. 9 strikes for Newcomb in the opening frame. And now Michael Conforto, the hottest Met hitter, leads off the second inning.
One of Sean's best games, not including that near no-hitter against the Dodgers, came here May 2nd. 7 innings, a 2-hit shutout ball, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts.
Line out of play, it's 0-2.
That was still early enough that everybody was still trying to figure out if the Mets were as good as their start or if they just got off to a good start. They really did have it working the first 12 or 14 days.
Conforto takes high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 8 homers, 28 RBIs for Michael Conforto. He's got a chance to fly past 30 RBIs this month with a good final 2 series. And the last Met with a single month of 29 RBIs or more, David Wright. He did that back in June of 2010 for New York. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Conforto leads off the second and asks for time. Popped him up. It'll be Charlie Culberson at shortstop. His first chance. And he makes the play at the cut of the grass. 1 up, 1 down in the second. I'm sure Dansby's watching the game back in Atlanta. And Dansby, all of us hope you're back real soon. I know you're disappointed with the injury last night. And you'll be missed these last few games of regular season play. Can't wait to see you back in Atlanta when the playoffs begin, and hopefully you'll be 100% ready to go.
That'd be awesome.
Bounced up there for Frazier, the Mets third baseman, batting .215.
Injuries that occur during the season are bound to happen to people. It's a long season. The grind can wear you down. So if something like this that happens in June or even July, you don't think too much about it. You just get some rest and get ready or get well. But doggone it, this time of year after the clincher, it's a little heartbreaking. And we're all hoping, Dansby, that it's a quick recovery.
It's like a very confident Sean Newcomb working. A lot of strikes. 14 of 22 pitches and another pop up. Lots of foul ground here in New York. And Camargo will make the play. He'll displace the birthday boy, Glenn Sherlock, who is the third base coach for the Mets. And that's the second out of the inning. Happy birthday, Glenn. Dominic Smith will be the batter with 2 quick outs. What is to be of Dominic Smith as a New York Met? They've tried him in the outfield to try to get him going. He's a first baseman by trade. Hasn't hit for a high average. Strikes out a lot. Doesn't draw a lot of walks. Doesn't really have much more to prove at AAA. It just hasn't translated yet at the big league level for New York.
Didn't have a good spring. They were hopeful that he would be ready to go. That led to another assignment to AAA. Sure, he was disappointed in that. Probably had a little bit of a hard time wrapping his head around it, getting ready to play, so he could get a call up, but not a good year for him.
There's a line drive, hard hit toward left. Acuna back and gets there to retire Dominic Smith. 6 up, 6 down for Sean Newcomb. Charlie Culberson leads off a scoreless third.
set to lead off for the Braves. And in case you missed the news with Chip and Joe earlier today, Dansby Swanson, after leaving the game early last night, they've officially announced it is a partially torn ligament in his left hand. Dansby will miss the remainder of the regular season, and he'll be reevaluated at the end of the week for postseason. Now, the good news is that the Braves have Charlie Culberson. The greater news is that Charlie Culberson was in this exact same position for the Dodgers last year when Corey Seager went down, and he had to take over at shortstop for the NLCS.
That's down the right field line on the first pitch. That is a foul ball. It just kept curling toward the line and just out of fair play. I'm sorry, Kelsey. Continue if you need to.
And all I was going to say is that they have the right man for an unfortunate job. And to piggyback off what you said, Chip and Joe, Dansby, if you're watching, we send you the best. Can't wait to see you back out here playing.
Yeah, to back that up, Kelsey, he was forced into action in the NLCS after Seager's elbow started, killing and led to surgery this year. He went 5 for 11 in the NLCS, 2 doubles, a triple, an RBI, sacrifice bunt, sacrifice fly, a couple of strikeouts. He followed that up in the World Series. He was in 5 of the 7 games they played against Houston. He went 3 for 5 with a homer and 1 strikeout. Bright lights, big spots, they don't bother him too much.
No balls, 2 strikes, nobody on or out in the top of the third. And downstairs, 1-2.
And the clutch hitting, as you called him, Charlie Clutch. He's been tremendous for the Braves this year. Those walk-off homers that you think of at SunTrust Park.
Chase that one, however, and DeGrom has his second strikeout. And that's how the third inning starts, with Sean Newcomb coming up.
Slider down and away, perfect spot. Only 46 walks and 209 innings for DeGrom this year. He can put it pretty much where he wants it.
Well, we saw Anibal Sanchez break an 0 for 54 at his last start. Maybe Sean Newcomb can improve on an 0-45 batting average tonight against DeGrom.
Bingo. 2 for 44.
And foul back, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Braves have beaten the Mets 7 of 8 times here in New York. They're 13-4 against them this season. That has as much to do with the Braves' divisional lead as anything else. While Atlanta was cleaning up on the Marlins and the Mets, the Phillies were playing them to a .500 record this year. And the Phillies are fading. They got clobbered in Colorado last night, and Washington has passed them in the Eastern Division race. Phillies now a game and a half out of second. And Newcomb's down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts. Back to the top for Acuna, and 2 outs. So 262 strikeouts for DeGrom. Max Scherzer, by the way, struck out 300 men this year. Reached that lofty total in his last start. 17th man since 1900 with 300 strikeouts. And it will be a fascinating debate as to who wins the Cy Young and why in the National League this year. As Acuna bats, singled his first time up, stole second, and was stranded.
We've seen DeGrom enough to know that when he starts working quickly, he is in a real groove, and he is painting.
Frazier gives ground. Tricky hop, stayed with it, flips to first, close play, but he got his man, and it's 3 up, 3 down in the top of the third inning. Still no score. So Max Scherzer was absolutely brilliant. 10 strikeouts to get to 300 as he took care of the Miami Marlins last night. Scherzer has certainly held serve in his bid for another Cy Young Award. But the man on the mound for the Mets tonight is Jacob deGrom, and here are the numbers head-to-head. Who's going to win it?
Scherzer does lead in a couple of categories, most notably strikeouts. Opponent's average as well. Whip is about the same, but and that ERA is a difference maker for me in the way deGrom has pitched. Scherzer pitched on a much better team.
Devin Mesoraco leads off for the Mets in the third. Newcomb matching deGrom strike for strike so far tonight.
Throwing hard too. He's been 96.
Fastball command has been good. As Tom Glavine has said to us time and time again, all of his secondary stuff works off command of the fastball. And he's been able to throw it exactly where he's wanted to for the most part in the early going tonight. He's thrown strike one a lot, one of Joe's keys. And he's got a 1-2 count to the catcher, Mesoraco, and out of play foul. Fan of the lower deck caught the pop fly on a ricochet. As you see Mesoraco's numbers, that total between New York and Cincinnati, where he began the year as a Red. The pitch. Very high, 2-2.
Mesoraco went about 3 weeks without playing, then came back a few days ago and went 3 for 3. Battling some neck issues.
When the Mets decided it was time for Matt Harvey to move along, well, Mesoraco was the return from Cincinnati.
The day where Harvey said he'd sign with anybody but the Mets.
Thanks for nothing. New York to pitch, swing and a miss, and Mesoraco's retired. deGrom has 3 strikeouts. Newcomb has 3 strikeouts. Sean, though, has retired the first 7 in order.
And in another fastball. No trickery, just getting after it. Great hand for deGrom.
Who's batting 169 on the year. Might recall deGrom injured his elbow when facing the Braves early this season. He hyperextended the elbow, swinging the bat, tried to continue, pitched just 4 innings. And then in his next start lasted just 1 frame before he was shut down for a short time. And then he's come back with guns blazing for the Mets.
Like he's got one of those Jeff McNeil bats. Fans oohing, but it wasn't that close.
1-2. Strike 3 called, and deGrom won't argue because he'll want that pitch when he's back on the hill. 2 outs. And here's Brandon Nimmo. Let's see if the Braves can make this guy put the ball in play. Last night, Nimmo walked 3 times, scored once, and bounced into a force play.
Another lefty in the lineup too, batting 9th.
25 walks this month for Nimmo. And the thinking, I'm sure, for Mickey Callaway, bat a high on base percentage guy, 9th. Might have a spot where you have 2 leadoff men on in front of McNeil and Jackson and company, should Newcomb have any trouble. He hasn't had much yet tonight. Boy, he is really popping the glove of Flowers.
Yeah, working quickly. I like it.
Nimmo walks again. Can you believe that?
No.
That's the first base runner for the Mets. Nimmo walks, and he's aboard with 2 outs. So here's Rosario. He hit a comebacker to the mound to start the game. The Mets shortstop having a good September. He with 29 hits this month. And a strike call. The Mets are really banking on their big 4. Syndergaard, DeGrom, Wheeler, and Matz being healthy to each make 30+ starts for them next year. Those 4 men this season, Mets have gone 57-55, now 57-56 after last night's loss when those men have pitched, and that's with very little run support. Some of that run support has been because Yoenis Cespedes has missed virtually the entire season. He's already had surgery on one heel to correct a problem on one foot, and in the days and weeks ahead he'll have surgery on the other foot, and it's hoped he'll be back at some point in the early days of 2019. His big bat would certainly help the New York offense. As Newcomb strikes out Rosario and struck out the side of the process. He and DeGrom are locked up in a great pitcher's duel. Love it. 4th inning coming up. Freeman and Markakis. His remarkable year is our Zaxby's indescribably good play.
National League ranks first in ERA, of course. 3rd in strikeouts per 9 innings. 2nd in WHIP, just behind Max Scherzer. Top 4 in all those categories.
So Ender leads off. He tapped back to the mound his first time, and DeGrom missed. 1 ball, no strikes. Changeup at 89 miles an hour. Frazier in on the grass at 3rd just in case Ender thinks about a bunt. Instead he hammers that ball down the line, foul, and it's an even count.
Boy, you hate that. You put a good swing on a pitch against a real tough pitcher and you yank it foul.
Well, they just built the ballpark wrong for that swing. It was tilted to the right about 30 feet to hit a home run. Ooh, thank you. 2 balls and a strike.
DeGrom didn't argue when that called 3rd to him because he was hoping to get that call, but he knew better.
All help appreciated against this man. The pitch is lifted to the right side. Ender pops it up. McNeil will give way to Nimmo, who's under it and has it. 1 out. And here's Freddie Freeman. He flied out to left. his first time up.
DeGrom has made 31 starts, 9-9 in 31 starts. The team has lost 18 of those 31 starts.
And so that goes back to
of those 18 losses, he's 0-9 with a 2.13 ERA.
Because they can't score for him, right? So that's why I think the Cy Young candidacy is going to be, and the vote is going to be so telling about where the game is among the people who vote for the awards. There's no question analytics has made a tremendous impact on the game. As this one's hit on the ground to first, Smith will have an easy play to flip to the pitcher, 2 outs. There are those who say that a win does not matter. And they will point to Jacob DeGrom and his excellence as an example of that. In other words, the things that he can't control, well, he can't hit every inning.
It's one of the best seasons in different categories. It's one of the best seasons in the last 100 years.
No question.
Or in baseball history.
Well, he's pitched now 212 innings and 2/3. Here's another eye-popping stat. He has gone to the mound behind in a game in 26 of 212 innings.
Just enough to collect 9 losses.
Yeah. There's a sharply hit ball. McNeil to his right, glides on the grass and took away a hit. Good play. Another perfect inning for DeGrom. McNeil leads off the 4th, still scoreless. The first ever football game at SunTrust Park is Saturday, November 19th. Be a part of history as Kennesaw State takes on Jacksonville State. Go to Braves.com/KSU and get your tickets today.
That was timely. Young man from Kennesaw.
Yes, sir. Well, the young man from the University of Hartford, Sean Newcomb, is matching zeros with Jacob DeGrom. Mets are up in the bottom of the 4th inning. McNeil, Jackson, and Conforto coming up. Sean's had 1 base runner. He walked Brandon Nimmo with 2 outs in the last half inning. Sean has now thrown strike 1 to 8 of his first 11 hitters. He's already had 6 0-2 counts.
That's a vast improvement, and all of it with fastballs, basically.
Watches that sweep outside. He struck out his first time up. Swing and a miss. He's been no slouch against left-handed pitching. McNeil came in tonight hitting .300 against him. As I said yesterday, it'll be a real shock if he's wearing number 68 in spring training for the Mets in 2019. And that one poked inside the line fair and headed for the corner. McNeil on his way to second. That's where he'll stand. It's a leadoff double. A perfectly placed pitch by the Mets second baseman.
It was up. Another good fastball up in the zone, and he got level on it and just sliced it the other way.
So that's the first Mets hit of the game. Let's see if Newcomb can prevent Jackson, Conforto, and Frazier from chasing McNeil around. Jackson struck out his first time up. And foul back, strike one. Jackson started the year with the Giants, went to Texas, then was scooped up by the Mets. Giants made a change in their front office. They relieved their general manager Bobby Evans of his duties yesterday. San Francisco going with a different look in their front office. Bruce Bochy will be back as the San Francisco skipper next season. No balls and a strike. The pitch. He tried to hit it to the right, but was way late. 0-2. Brewers and Cardinals are playing tonight. Another big game in St. Louis. Christian Yelich is red hot, and Milwaukee's jumped in front again, 1-0 at Busch Stadium.
Scoring a ton of runs.
They got their swagger back when the Braves saw him up in Milwaukee. 0-2 pitch. Again fouled away.
Milwaukee's got a solid lineup, a deep lineup. It's all about pitching for them too.
McNeil at second with nobody out. And a swing and a miss. Jackson didn't get a slow curve. And Newcomb with his 6th strikeout keeps McNeil anchored at second base. Now one out, and he's got a lefty-lefty matchup.
He hasn't overused this pitch tonight either. He's used it effectively when he needed it. Needed it here for the punch out, and in a good spot. Lying on that fastball as he should.
Beg your pardon, Joe. Now Conforto becomes the key man in the inning. He popped out his first and only time up. A rare ball one miss from Sean Newcomb.
That's a quick swing. I know he was hurt at the beginning of the year, that shoulder that required some surgery. It's taken him a while to get to 100%, but you watch how he stands in there, his hands fairly close to his body, but kind of right over in front of that S on Mets. And then he doesn't really push him back. He just goes from there. Really strong.
Good try, but just missed. Yeah, Conforto dislocated his shoulder and tore the posterior capsule in the shoulder swinging the bat last August. Had surgery September 6th and made his way back this year after being an all-star for the Mets last season. And a bouncing ball evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This guy's a good player.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be even better. I know it scared the Mets to death last year when he suffered that injury. It looks like he'll be 100% ready to go next year. Great month of September.
So what does Sean have in mind with a 2-2 count? Did he go? It was off the plate and no appeals, so it's a full count.
This will be a bit of a telltale display right here. He's had a good fastball. Will he use it 3-2 with a runner in scoring position, or will he go to the secondary?
Missed the inside corner, and it's ball 4. Second walk. It does set up a double play chance, however, with Todd Frazier up there, and Frazier popped out his first time up.
Wasn't his Sunday best fastball, but it was a fastball and just missed the inside part.
In a game like this, Joe, is it hard pitching against an opposing lineup, knowing you also have to pitch against the excellence of a guy like Jacob deGrom? I would assume there's a little extra pressure, knowing that you give up 1 run, pitch great. That might be 1 run too many.
Yeah, we might have to ask Tom Glavine or Paul Bird or Don Sutton that question. But I'm sure going into the game, you know that you can't afford to give up a handful of runs tonight, knowing that the other guy's not going to give up many. You know, we've seen Sean in a couple of games this year, day games in particular, where he's had trouble holding onto the baseball because of sweat. Tonight, it's not hot. I mean, 79 degrees at game time, but it is ultra humid, and you can see everybody really working up a lather. Haven't seen any issues from Sean for grip, and that's a good sign.
Another first pitch strike to Frazier.
And his night record shows you how much better it is for him with regard to the grip issues.
That ball popped away from Flowers, but no advance, fortunately. The Mets have 2 players that are in double digits in double play balls. Kevin Plawecki, who's not in the lineup tonight, he has 11. Frazier has 10. And that's exactly what Sean is looking for here in the 4th inning, with 2 on and 1 out. A strikeout wouldn't be a bad thing either. 1-2. It's been a rough September for Todd Frazier. He's got 10 hits and 69 at bats this month, but 6 extra base hits among the 10 safeties he has picked up. Camargo guards the line at third. The pitch is popped up into right. Markakis is going to catch that, and that's a big second out. And now it's a lefty-lefty battle between Newcomb and Smith to keep this game scoreless here in the 4th.
Good pitch. Stay on the attack. Smith had a good swing his first time up, line 1 to left. Looked like he kind of fought that one off.
So 2 on, 2 out. McNeil led off the inning with a double. He's still at second, and a first pitch strike at 95. Mets took Dominic Smith first in the 2013 draft. He was the 11th overall pick. Just turned 23 this past June, so still a young player. For New York. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Trying to crowd him. That's good. Sean had the rough start 10 days ago against Washington. 3 innings, 6 hits, a couple of walks. Both of those walks scored. He gave up 5 runs in 3 innings. But the start before that at San Francisco, 6 innings, a 3-hit ball, gave up just 1 run, did not walk a batter, struck out 8. Tonight is more in line with what he did in San Francisco.
And Smith helped him out. He swings and misses, and Newcomb pitches around a leadoff double. That was rather Jacob deGrom-like, wouldn't you say? We go to the 5th.
All on Fox Sports Southeast is presented by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Oh, that's beautiful. Where's that?
That's Midtown Manhattan. We, however, are in Queens, in Flushing, New York.
Well, we've been in our room a lot.
That's true. This is a very busy time in downtown New York. The United Nations is in session as Johan Camargo leads off the 5th inning and fouls it back. President Trump has been in and out of our hotel each of the last couple of days and will be again tomorrow. And you can imagine the traffic gridlock for security reasons around our hotel, and frankly for several blocks away from our hotel.
Well, he's coming back tomorrow because we haven't finished our discussion.
Oh, perfect. Plenty to talk about. Fouled back. It's 0-2 to Camargo.
Well, he wanted to know more about Dansby, and I'll be able to tell him some more tomorrow. I have that info. Might want to update the fans who just joined us.
Did he go? He did. Called out of the plate, and 9 up, 9 down for Jacob deGrom as Camargo's retired. That's strikeout number 4 for the Mets right-hander. deGrom, by the way, as we join you in the 5th inning, presented by Audi Q5. deGrom now needs 6 strikeouts for 1,000 as a major league pitcher. Hope he doesn't get it tonight. Has to wait till perhaps opening day next year. Ball 1 to Tyler Flowers, who struck out. He was the first man. deGrom retired on strikes.
For those of you that just joined us, Dansby Swanson flew back to Atlanta, had an MRI on his hand. It's determined that he had a partially torn ligament in his hand. And hopefully we'll be able to get treatment and still be available to play by the time the postseason gets here. That's to be determined. Remember earlier when I said we've seen deGrom get on these kind of rolls before?
Yeah.
Where he can't wait to get the baseball back in his hands and Go into a windup.
He's on that roll right now. And we were both extremely impressed with DeGrom in an earlier start this year. Braves had a threat. Mickey Callaway was thinking about coming out to get him. And DeGrom just waved him back to the dugout and said, "I'm finishing this inning." And he did. Good cut by Flowers. That's headed for the upper tank. And he's still alive, 2-2.
98. Back-to-back 98s, best fastballs of the night. Jacobs had some arm trouble earlier in his career. In fact, had Tommy John surgery a few years ago. So he's well past that. Had that hyperextension on the elbow from a swing that you were talking about on his right elbow. I believe it was his right elbow.
Yeah, because he came out of the game and then went one inning in his next start. And that's upstairs, and it was while he was swinging the bat.
Yeah, and the reason that doesn't sound right is because he's a left-handed hitter and a right-handed thrower.
Good battle here with Tyler Flowers. Full count pitch. But DeGrom wins the battle. That's his 5th strikeout. And he's set down 10 straight Braves hitters.
98-93. Little slider at 93. Maybe just more like a cutter. A good spot.
So the way this one started, it's a matter of which pitcher blinks first. Braves got leadoff hits in the first and second inning. And Ciarte, Freeman, and Markakis couldn't bring Acuna home in the opening frame. Camargo led off with a single. Flowers struck out and then always hit into a double play to end that threat. And after Camargo's second inning hit, nobody's reached. Great job by Newcomb last inning to pitch around a leadoff double.
He missed badly there on the first pitch to Ozzie, but you rarely see him miss by that much. He's just a little bit off the plate, one side or the other, up or down, all around it.
That ball is hit to shallow right. McNeil playing the rover spot, and Smith dug it out, and that retires the side. DeGrom's coming up second, still no score. Great duel in New York.
Your local Ford dealer, the Georgia Lottery, and by the All-South Highway Safety Team. The All-South Highway Safety Team reminds you to play it safe by always wearing your seatbelt.
Early taste of postseason pitching tonight in New York. Game 2 of the Braves and Mets series. No score. Newcomb and DeGrom are dueling so far. Newcomb has struck out. I've got him for 6. Make that 7 Mets hitters so far in the game. DeGrom has struck out 5. Sean's finest hour came last half inning, pitching around a leadoff double by McNeil, and he kept the game scoreless. And now Mesoraco, DeGrom, and Nimmo are coming up in the New York 5th. Pulled toward third. Camargo side saddle, makes the play and throws a strike to first. 1 out. Let's see if
first pitch out.
I was going to say the Mets probably don't want to get to 2 strikes against Newcomb. And maybe that'll play into Sean's hands. Another big ovation for DeGrom, who was caught looking his first time up. Many of these stats we're bringing you tonight about Jacob DeGrom came in a great story that was printed on the, not printed, but was online in the Athletic website. The one that really jumped out at me was this one. Jacob DeGrom came into play tonight among qualified pitchers with the lowest ERA in baseball at 1.77. Lucas Giolito of the White Sox has the highest ERA among qualified starters. He's at 5.81. 1 ball, 1 strike. For Lucas Giolito to catch Jacob DeGrom in the ERA column, he would have to throw 391 consecutive scoreless innings, which I don't think is going to happen. For Jacob DeGrom to utterly implode and go from the best ERA to the worst ERA among qualified starters, he would have had to allow 94 runs before he got an out in tonight's game. And Newcomb's missed a couple of times now, and he immediately looks down at his left hand. That's 3 pitches tonight that DeGrom has felt might be a little close, and I think Tyler Flowers is explaining that.
This is where he misses when he can't grip the baseball. It goes left-handed batter's box.
And that one not close enough to offer, so DeGrom walks. And again, I'm sure DeGrom knows, and Freddie Freeman's probably telling DeGrom too, he wasn't trying to hit you. And Sean now with 79 walks in 162 innings. Those innings totals, by the way, a career high for Sean. Here's Nimmo. He walked his first time up. 4 walks for him in the series, and ball 1 outside.
You know, it's not like Nimmo goes up there looking for a walk every time up. He's hit 17 homers. That rosin pretty hard.
You know, again, Tommy Glavine was talking with us earlier this year about all the perspiration issues that Newcomb and others have had. One of the great things in sport is all the high performance athletic wear that players are able to use. Sean's got what looks like to be one of those polyester type pitching sleeves under his uniform top. And while that, I'm sure, wicks away moisture from the body, there's no place for that perspiration to go except to trickle down your hand onto the baseball.
Yeah, it was suggested to me early in this season by an older guy that I know that, you know, why not try some cotton and change shirts every inning? The cotton will absorb and keep it from running down your arm. You just change shirts every inning and start over.
2 balls and a strike for Nimmo. A strike after the meeting with Chuck Hernandez. And the pitch is low. Ball 3. John breezed through the first 8 hitters, retiring them in order. Mets have put 4 runners aboard the second time through the order. And a beach ball, I think, got loose in center field. Ender is going to jog over to the Braves bullpen and take care of that. If the Braves play the Dodgers in the playoffs, get used to this sight.
Jesse cuts to his left. He's in the left field.
Three balls and a strike. Perfect pitch. Nimmo's had a good year. 17 homers, 47 RBIs. The pitch is down and in. He walked again. And now it's Newcomb's turn to look in at C.V. Buckner and question where that pitch was. Back-to-back walks, and now we're back to the top of the order.
Good pitch again. Tyler expressing his dismay over that one.
So last night, Touki Toussaint walked 5, limited the damage to 2 runs. Newcomb's walked 4. Nobody's scored for the Mets as of now. Here's Rosario, the leadoff man and shortstop, 0 for 2. And that's cued foul for a strike. All the talk in New York is about the final game for David Wright, which will be on Saturday against the Marlins. Not much has been said about the possibility it could also be the end of the line for Jose Reyes in a Mets uniform. 80 years David Wright's running mate on the Mets infield. They'll play them together on Saturday. Ground ball foul at third, and just like that, Rosario's behind 0-2.
Yeah, could be a big changing of the guard here in New York. Head in the count. He'll have to throw a strike here. Might be able to get Rosario to expand his zone. He does strike out quite a bit. Or even better case scenario for the ground ball.
1-2. DeGrom, the lead runner at second base. And a swing and a miss. He pulled a string. Boy, a couple of times Sean has made a huge pitch with runners in scoring position tonight, and that's his 8th strikeout. It's a biggie.
It's the second time he's gotten Rosario on a off-speed pitch. That one was the curveball. Got him on a changeup earlier tonight. Backdoored that. He couldn't reach it. Couldn't stay back. Great sequence there for the second out. You can see his hat is completely soaked.
So here's McNeil, a strikeout and a double. As you said, McNeil leveled off on a high fastball and just guided it down the third base line. Nothing Camargo could do about that. With that in mind, Johans moved a step closer to the third base line. Culberson plays behind DeGrom at shortstop. And the 1-0. 2-0. It's had 1 base runner in the 3rd, 2 base runners in the 4th, 2 aboard here in the 5th. It's pushed up the pitch count, but he ought to be out of it if Acuna can catch this one. McNeil upset, and that will retire the side. 2 more walks, but another frustrated inning for the Mets offense. Sean Newcomb for the Braves. And partner, after 5 innings, I'd say both men have lived up to the advanced billing.
2 hits for the Braves, 1 for the Mets. There's the box score, if you will, the line score for these 2 guys. 4 walks for Sean, none for DeGrom, but he's had more strikeouts than DeGrom, 8-5. It's interesting, all 4 walks have been to left-handed hitters. 5 of the 8 strikeouts for Sean have been right-handed hitters. And it looks like his night is over.
So that was our Chevrolet game summary. Find new roads as Jacob DeGrom will face Charlie Culberson. Rio Ruiz will pinch hit, and then Ronald Acuna. We are in the 6th inning already, no score. And downstairs, even count. Charlie struck out his first time up, making his 16th start at shortstop for the Braves. And chased there. It's 1-2.
Yeah, he's had him going after that slider away tonight. Been hard for Charlie to pick up.
Five shutout innings for Sean Newcomb, as the Braves will turn it over to the bullpen. Culberson laid off there. It's now 2-2. Dodgers will be in Arizona later on. The Braves picked up a game on LA. They lead Los Angeles by a 1.5 for the 2nd best record among divisional leaders, and thus home field advantage in a potential playoff matchup, as this one's hit on the ground too short, and Rosario gets Culberson for out number 1. That's 12 straight set down. While we have a moment, I want to send along congratulations to our pal Beth Marshall of the Atlanta Braves and her husband Corey Stolte, who's the executive director of programming at Fox Sports. They're celebrating their 9th wedding anniversary. Two terrific people.
Congratulations.
Indeed, congratulations to you both.
DeGrom's probably a little upset here because Newcomb's not hitting. This year, pitchers against Jacob DeGrom are 1 for 46 with 33 strikeouts. Who got the hit?
Oh man, I think I know this. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Strike 1 to Rio. I'm going to say Mike Soroka.
Well, I'm going to give you a hint. His last name starts with Bumgarner.
Oh, okay.
Madison Bumgarner hit a double off of him.
Does that surprise you a bit?
No.
Unbelievable. 1 for 47.
Bumgarner drove in the winning run last night for them in a pinch hit roll.
Yes, he did.
1 for 46 with 33 strikeouts.
46.
And that includes Newcomb's strikeout tonight.
Two balls and a strike for Rio Ruiz. And bang, foul. You know how much I hate the DH, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm in favor of against this guy for the Mets. Just saying.
Yeah.
Two and two. Good take. That's a full count.
Left-handers 227 on the year against DeGrom, 6 homers. Right-handers 172, 4 homers.
And his strikeout number 6 might have been ball 4. 13 in a row are set down. And back to the top and Ronald Acuna.
Last year DeGrom went 15-10 with a 3.53 ERA. Good heater on the outside corner. Struck out 239 in 201 innings.
First pitch swing and out of play, and that's why the Mets were somewhat of a curious example at the trade deadline. A lot of so-called experts thought they should have traded 1, if not 2 of their starters and rapidly rebuilt their franchise. I don't know if Jacob DeGrom is going to pitch to a 1.77 ERA. I wouldn't put it past him. but I also would be, were I betting man, pretty confident in saying I can't imagine the Mets would struggle to score runs so dramatically for him next year. As he had Acuna flailing there, nasty pitch, and listen to the crowd in New York.
Well, they've got to score more runs, period. Correct. Not just for him.
So my point is, statistically, he might not have as great a year next year, but he might have better results if possible.
Agreed. More wins.
He's about to make his 80th pitch. Base is empty, 2 outs. Good battle with Acuna. That might have got a piece of Ronald on the way by. Swing the bat again here. One swing could put the Braves in front.
He is just working that outside corner with that slider and cutter. And ready to throw another one.
Was that swung on and missed? I guess so. Acuna's going to race to first. The throw there is going to be late. And Acuna better hustle back to first. That ball might have been, yeah, he made a left turn at first base. Acuna turned the wrong way once he went past the first base bag, and he turns into foul territory. The inning continues. And McNeil very alertly flipped that ball back to Dominic Smith. And Acuna was an easy out. He was standing there looking right at the Mets second baseman, who threw him out. That's a break for New York. After a wild pitch, and was thrown out alertly by Jeff McNeil to end the Atlanta 6th inning. And so now the Mets come up with their 3, 4, and 5 hitters. It's Luke Jackson in place of Sean Newcomb, who gave up 1 hit in 5 scoreless innings tonight.
A lot of strikeouts for Luke, 44 and 39 plus innings.
And Jackson had to back away, a Jackson versus Jackson matchup. And Austin almost got nailed. Instead, he fouls that pitch off.
I'm really glad it hit the bat. Almost got a big piece of him.
Jackson struck out twice tonight. and struck out twice last night. And that one poked foul to the right side. Amaro gets out of the way at first base. He's the Mets' first base coach. And it's 0-2.
Luke's last 14 games, not how he'd like to finish the season. His last 14 games, 21 hits and 11 runs.
Chopper off the plate. That will trickle foul. That's upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nice crowd in New York tonight to see Jacob deGrom's season finale. He's thrown 6 shutout innings and has retired the last 14 in a row.
Yeah, don't think for a second that even on teams that aren't going anywhere that fans don't turn out to see an ace pitch. They do.
A full count. Don't want to walk this man. The pitch is swung and missed. Jackson is retired on strikes for the 3rd time. 9 Mets have gone down swinging so far in the game, and here's Conforto with 1 out. So Jackson with a good start. Again, it's worth repeating. The Braves have already clinched the East. They don't know who they're going to play. They don't know if they have home field advantage in the playoffs. The other thing they don't know is how they're going to comprise their roster. These are hugely important outings for all of the relievers, all the starters, bench players, and like.
And the Braves have a lot to play for, so it's not like 2 or 3 guys a night are going to get a night off. Playing for home field advantage, playing for quite possibly home field advantage throughout.
They'll need some help from the Tigers, the Cardinals, and the Pirates if Atlanta's going to jump over the Cubs for the best record in the National League playoff picture. Liner just out of reach of Freeman, and that's headed for the right field corner. Conforto, red hot this month, is going to take the turnaround second and pull up there. A 1-out double just out of reach of a leaping Freddie Freeman at first. So 25 doubles for Conforto, and the Mets have another threat this time in the 6th.
Curveball, ready for it, and boy, that was close. He stays hot.
Mets have their 2nd hit. Both of them are doubles. One by McNeil, one by Conforto, and now Todd Frazier. Frazier has not faced Luke Jackson in his career. Ball 2. Good enough. 2 balls and a strike. Cubs lead the Pirates 2-1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning at Wrigley. Brewers and Cardinals tied 1-1 in the fifth. Phillies and Rockies just underway. Rockies are up in the bottom of the first inning. Dodgers play in Arizona a little later. No score here in New York. Line drive to right, but playable for Markakis, who makes the grab. 2 outs. And here's Smith, who struck out with 2 on and 2 out in the Mets' 4th inning. In the 7th for Atlanta, Inciarte, Freeman, and Markakis are coming up. 2, 3, and 4 hitters. As Jacob deGrom will begin his 3rd trip through the Braves lineup tonight.
Ross Stripling and Zach Greinke tonight in Arizona.
That'll be a good one. Line foul, strike 1. Baltimore's got a tough assignment tonight. They've got to make up a rainout yesterday. They played game 1 of the doubleheader in Boston. Red Sox won game 1 19-3. Game 2's tied 2-2 in the 4th. At Fenway Park. Another strike, and now
96.
Jackson's a strike away from sending us to the 7th. Up the middle, a base hit on an 0-2 count. Ender comes up throwing. His throw is cut off. Nobody at first base. And on an 0-2 pitch, Dominic Smith gives Jacob deGrom a 1-0 lead.
Looked like a slider. He's got an excellent knuckle curve, but that slider, maybe trying to do a backdoor slider, sat up for him, and Smith had it covered.
So Jacob deGrom now has a lead. And Mesoraco, the batter, he is 0 for 2. And a high strike for the Mets catcher. Fastball fouled back. It's 0-2. A breaking ball that hung up just enough for Smith to guide it up the middle. Has put New York in front. Luke about to make his 20th pitch of the inning. And a swing and a miss. A much better 0-2 pitch there. Takes care of Mesoraco. Conforto doubles. Smith brings him home. We go to the 7th, and the Mets have struck first. bank of here. 14 up, 14 down for Jacob deGrom, who has what must feel like, Joe, a king-size lead of 1-0.
He's looking at that and he sees the 1. He just figures there's a 0 after it. That's how big it is to him. 10-0.
Jacob deGrom entering tonight's action has started an inning with a tie score or trailing by a run in 116 of the 209 innings he had pitched. That is not the case here. This is also where the Braves have been exceptionally good offensively. The 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. It'll be a true test against Jacob deGrom.
He's only thrown 83 pitches, 84 pitches.
Well, he had 2 base runners, no stress for him. While the night is muggy, New York has had some long offensive innings, which has probably allowed him to cool off. Everything but that blistering fastball. He is a man on a mission. He wants double digits in wins, and the Mets have given him a lead. 1-2 pitch. Line and
my goodness.
Don't know how he caught it, but what a play. A diving leap to his right to rob Ender of a hit. That's a game changer.
Ender squared that up, looked like it was headed for center field. You see a big gap there between McNeil and the bag, but he closed that quickly. Fully extended. Great play.
So here's Freeman, and he takes a 90-mile-an-hour changeup for a strike. Freddie's 0 for 2 tonight. And historically, great work against the Mets, as you'll see in our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot.
Just 373 this year.
Yeah. And that'll play foul.
deGrom has 1 complete game this year. It was against Philadelphia in Philly. It was not a shutout because he gave up an unearned run. 7-hitter, no walks, 9 strikeouts.
He just threw that pitch 99 miles an hour. He has it when he wants to use it. Broken bat. Smith at first. Backflip to deGrom. And Freeman talks about that with Jacob, who got into Freddie's kitchen for the 2nd out. 16 in a row retired.
18 starts for him this year where he's issued 1 walk or less. Nice play there by Smith. He just drove in the run.
I think Freddie just said, get out. Get out of the kitchen as deGrom shattered the bat. Here's Markakis. 2 ground outs by Nick. McNeil took away a hit last time. He was playing in shallow right field. And up and away, ball 1. Braves had leadoff hits in the 1st and 2nd innings. They've not had a base runner since. And when you hear Brian Snitker talk about, or another major league manager talk about, a dude at the top of your rotation, you are looking at what they're talking about. deGrom is manhandling a very talented Braves offense tonight. And there's no shame in that. He's been doing it to everybody all year long. 17 in a row retired. DeGrom has his 8th strikeout. He's 2 away from 1,000. He leads 1-0 and gets a standing O as we head to the stretch. Off for New York, heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. Why not? He's got a 2-hit shutout. He's set down 17 straight. And let's be honest, Joe, he wants a 10th win, but he also knows how flammable the Mets bullpen has been.
Absolutely. Standing O from most of the fans here against Johnny Venters now, who works the 7th.
DeGrom, Nimmo, and Rosario are coming up. And the first pitch caught on and fouled away. I mentioned DeGrom out of Stetson, where he was a shortstop, so he could swing the bat. He has struck out and walked tonight. New York's run came in the 6th inning, a 2-out 0-2 single that scored Michael Conforto for a 1-0 Mets lead, which stands here in Game 2.
Johnny Venters has only given up 1 hit in his last 8 outings.
I like his chances to make the postseason roster.
Yes, sir, I do too. An excellent addition along with Brad Brock at the trade deadline.
DeGrom is down on strikes. Venters retires his first man faced. 11 Mets have been struck out in this game. And DeGrom gets a standing ovation for that.
You know, that's something Don Sutton used to talk a lot about, and I'm sure he still does, about you pitching a good ball game, you're getting in the latter stages of the game, save a little energy. You already got the lead, just go up there. He did take a swing at one of the pitches, but don't go up there for any extended at bat. Go back, sit down, get ready for the 8th.
Or in his case, hyperextended at bat, which is how he hurt himself against the Braves earlier this year. Here's Nimmo. 2 more walks for him. See if Hendricks can solve the riddle of making this guy put the ball in play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Throwing strikes would be a good way to start. There's a ground ball and sharply hit right at Ozzie. 2 outs. So good start for Venters. 2 up, 2 down. Rosario, the leadoff man, has struck out twice tonight. Those strikeouts came against Sean Newcomb, who pitched a good ball game. Matching up with Jacob deGrom with 5 innings of 1 hit shutout ball, 8 strikeouts, the only blemish 4 walks. But was able to pitch out of trouble like Tukey did last night in game 1.
Only the second ground ball out for Atlanta pitchers. The other was a comebacker in the first inning. So excuse me, that's 3 ground ball outs. There's also 1 to Camargo.
And this ground ball is going to sneak up the middle for Rosario, a 2-out hit. So that's his 30th hit this month. Very impressive September for Ahmed Rosario, one of the Mets' top prospects. Might have a few bumblebees in his hands after he made contact there. And he's aboard in front of McNeil, who's 1 for 3 himself. When this game gets to the 8th inning, Camargo, Flowers, and Albies, the first 3 scheduled for the Braves. Need to hold the Mets right here and hope to rack up some pitches against deGrom and maybe get him out of the game. The Mets bullpen is stirring in right field. Atlanta's pen is busy too. It's Kyle Wright. In case the inning continues with Jackson waiting on deck. The ball's at a strike. McNeil finally got a chance to play here in New York, and he is making the most of it with a terrific 6-week stretch. He's doubled tonight. He's made a couple of good defensive plays. That leaping grab to Rob Ender changed the tone of the 7th inning for the Braves.
Sure did. Would have had something started.
That's fouled off Flowers, and now strike 2.
Camargo off the line again, and might want to creep back over toward the line with McNeil behind in the count and a left-handed pitcher up.
It's a great camera angle, great look down the third base line. And Flowers smothers that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch is lined toward left. Acuna headed for the corner, is going to get there, and that will retire the side. Good work for Johnny Venters. It's gotten late in New York. We go to the 8th, 1-0 Mets. Jacob deGrom's arsenal tonight. Let's take a look at his percentage of pitches thrown above 90. That's our StatCast AI powered by AWS.
3 Mets on there of the top 4. 74.2% of the time for Jacob deGrom. Saw Syndergaard last night. He was airing it out.
So deGrom goes to work in the 8th inning. He's thrown 96 pitches. There is action in the Mets bullpen. He's retired 17 straight after Camargo led off the second with a single.
He doesn't even want to look over his shoulder.
One ball, one strike.
Oh, man.
Johannes could argue about that. That hasn't been a strike most of the night.
That wasn't even a fastball. That was that cutter.
And he doesn't need that kind of help. It's really sharply snatched by Mesoraco, but called a strike. The 1-2 pitch. That was off the plate, even count. Pitch number 100 is bounced back to the mound, and an easy flip to first for the first out. MLB at bat, your #1 Braves app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this year. Get Braves home screen icons and features like the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio stats, news, and more. Download MLB at bat today. deGrom has had Tyler Flowers' number. He struck him out twice. He has faced one more man than the minimum. And has a 2-hit shutout, leading 1-0.
Both of the hits were leading off in the first and second inning. Sharply hit.
And right now, with all due respect to Braves offense, they're swinging at the invisible ball. deGrom looking at strikeout number 999 here, perhaps. And this place sounds like Mets years of old, doesn't it? They are hanging on every pitch. And the 1-2. 2 outs. Nothing wrong with that one. That came back beautifully.
Yeah, it did. It had some late life on it, late movement, cut back. I understand Tyler's frustration because there have been some pitches like that that didn't go the Braves' way. He would have liked to have had. 99 in the 8th inning.
23,205. Hear them chanting MVP. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozzie homered in the 8th last night. Braves have 28 wins this year when they trail after 6 innings. Only Oakland has more. They need 1 to tie. But 1 might feel like 10 against deGrom in this game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. DeGrom a strike away from 1,000 strikeouts. A full count. Culberson's on deck.
Like you said, you can't eliminate anything. He's liable to throw anything 3-2.
As he caught looking. An incredible performance by Jacob DeGrom, who leads 1-0 after 7.5.
Starts here. And by Georgia Natural Gas. Get $100 when you sign up and use promo code SAVE100.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them.
Chip and Joe with you from New York. Kyle Wright has grabbed a baseball. He'll come on and be the 3rd Atlanta reliever of the game. And he'll have Jackson, Conforto, and Frazier coming up.
It's his 4th big league game, as you see. 5 innings, 2 hits, a run. It was earned. He's walked a few guys. He's walked 6 guys in those 5 innings, 3 strikeouts.
Something we've heard the Braves staff say about Kyle Wright is his stuff plays in whatever role you consider him for. And he certainly is in the mix for consideration for the Braves bullpen. As this one lined right back to the mound by Jackson. And a comebacker takes care of the Mets center fielder, who's 0 for 4. And welcome to the Big Apple, Kyle Wright. 1 out. Here's Conforto, the only man to touch the plate. He doubled in the 6th inning and scored on a Dominic Smith base hit with 2 outs. .95 on the black. That's a good start. 0-1. Looking ahead to the 9th inning. A couple of questions. 1, will DeGrom continue? Number 2, who will pinch hit for Wright? His spot's due 2nd. High in the air, deep to right field. Marquez will admire that one. That's up on the shin bridge. The hottest hitter in the National League East is Michael Conforto, and he raised a solo homer to make it 2-0. 9 homers, 29 RBIs this month.
Wow, that ball went a long way. There's only one guy that might keep him from winning the Player of the Month award, and that's Christian Yelich. He got a hanging slider in the middle of the plate and launched it out over the top of the bullpens.
And the hitters know, don't they?
Everybody wanted to watch that one.
I think Lucas Duda hit one against the Braves out that way. It might have gone into the bridge several years ago.
Ike Davis.
You're right, it was Ike Davis. I knew it was a first baseman, but I forgot about Ike. So Todd Frazier with 1 in, 1 out. Mets have extended the lead. It's now 2-0. And that might answer the question as to whether DeGrom's going to come out and try to finish what he started. As I said, this is a man that was on a mission for the Mets. A 1.09 ERA against the Braves this year, yet the Mets were 0-5 in games he started. And given up just 4 earned runs all year to Atlanta, but had 2 losses. Swing and a miss by Frazier. There was a good slider. And after the homer, Frazier strikes out. Let's check in with Jerome for a game break back in our Atlanta studios. Yeah, offense has been a problem, Jerome, for Chicago, but not tonight. With the wind blowing out toward right field at Wrigley, they lead at home over Pittsburgh. Colorado leads the Phillies 1-0. Brewers 2-1 over St. Louis in the 6th. LA and Arizona get started, I guess, in about 15-20 minutes out west. As this one's hit a long way by Smith to left. Acuna's going back. That ball's going to carry and go. Big night for Dominic Smith. 2 RBIs, and the Mets with a couple of homers in the 8th have broken it open. This is what the Mets have been waiting to see from Dominic Smith.
That's a pretty good pop the other way. He has stayed on both of the balls that he has hit for RBIs tonight. One was a single, now a homer. His 5th.
Here's Mesoraco. In the old configuration of Citi Field, that would not have been a home run. Remember when this place first opened, it was a gigantic ballpark. You had to hit the ball into the stands. And there were so many complaints by the Mets hitters after the first year, and justifiably so. They brought the fences in and added that party deck out there to give the right-hand hitters a chance.
A little bit like right field at Petco Park.
The fans are saying, "We want Dave." Dave is in David Wright. Or they're saying, "We want Jake." I think they're saying, "We want Jake." Because a pinch hitter, Jay Bruce, is in the on-deck circle.
And it's raining.
And Bruce just said, "I want him too." 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 solo homers by New York in the 8th. And if this inning continues, we're really going to have to work hard to see if it's Bruce or Booze that greet him when he comes to the plate.
Good point.
Let's hope he doesn't. Full count for Mesoraco. And a swing and a miss. So that ends the inning. 2 homers and 2 strikeouts for Kyle Wright. We'll see if the fans get their wish. We go to the 9th. Jacob deGrom, he was trying to put an exclamation point on his Cy Young candidacy in tonight's game. For me, I don't think there's any doubt.
Well, for anybody that hasn't watched him pitch this year, especially against Atlanta, you got a good taste of it tonight. 20 straight retired after the hit by Camargo leading off the 2nd inning. He didn't walk anybody. He struck out 10, which happened to be his 1,000th in his career right there on the called 3rd strike. That's just a taste of what he's done all year long. But he's out of the game. Seth Lugo will try to finish it up, something the Mets bullpen hasn't done a very good job of this year in relief of deGrom.
They have allowed a run or more in 106 games this year as their relief corps, which sports the 2nd worst ERA in the major leagues. Lugo with that high velocity curveball gets ahead of Charlie Culberson, who's 0 for 2 tonight. A couple more notes on deGrom. 24th straight quality start, 29th consecutive game allowing 3 earned runs or less. And I'll give you his finishing numbers for the season. Is this one in for a strike? If this score holds, he'll go to 10-9. 217 innings, 152 hits, 41 earned runs, 46 walks, 269 strikeouts, and 10 homers allowed. Think about that. He has nearly issued fewer walks than earned runs as a starting pitcher in this day and age.
Maddox like.
Bouncing ball to McNeil, who's had a fine game, and Lugo gets the first out. NBA opening nights 3 weeks from tonight. It's all part of Fox Sports Southeast's big fall lineup. We've got coverage across the Southeast with the Charlotte Hornets, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Atlanta Hawks. Catch opening night coverage in your area. Territorial restrictions apply. Your fall lineups presented by Landmark Chrysler. 21 Braves have been set down by deGrom and Lugo. And Preston Tucker will grab a bat with the Braves trailing by 3. One ball, one strike. Braves have 2 outs left in the 9th inning. Fouled away by Preston. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Julio Teheran and Jason Vargas will square off tomorrow. Julio's had good luck against the Mets. He's pitched well in this park. Braves hope he can right the ship if this score holds. As that's well off the plate and an even count.
Braves have got a six game winning streak on the line. 7 would be their season high. They've won 12 out of 16. But so far, too much DeGrom tonight.
Two out. 22 up, 22 down since Camargo's 2nd inning single. Saturday before the Braves and Phillies play, catch an ACC doubleheader on Fox Sports Southeast. First it's Bowling Green and Georgia Tech at noon, followed by Rice and Wake Forest at 3:30. ACC Saturdays on South, presented by your local Ford dealer. So here's Acuna, the final Atlanta hope. He singled, stole a base in the first, but was left stranded. He's the only man to get into scoring position tonight. He was the first batter of the game. That's how overpowering Jacob deGrom was tonight.
Well, and another example of how important that is to get that guy in. If you get a guy at second and nobody out. If this was postseason like.
To right, and that's a winner for Jacob deGrom. He's 10-9 as the Mets shut out the Braves and sent down the final 23 Atlanta hitters in order. The Mets staff faced one more than the minimum in simply an overpowering, as you said, Joe, Greg Maddux-like performance by Jacob deGrom, who finished off the Braves in 2 hours and 22 minutes tonight. Couple of late homers salted it away for New York. 3-0 the final. We'll recap it from City right after this.